Hey, Steady Steve, please like and subscribe. Please click on the Deck Heroes icon. Click on subscribe. It's 100% free. Blood in, blood out. And don't forget to click on the notifications just so you don't miss any amazing content. Just find the camera. There you are. Brilliant. So this is the first viewing. Let's go.
This is where we're at. Wish I could say I was.
Fellas, welcome back. Today, we're discussing a growing movement. More and more men are going their own way. We'll take a look at why so many men are choosing this path, the impact it's having on modern relationships, and what it means for the future of dating. If you're curious about this rising trend, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's dive right in.
Girl, are you telling me that you have a man that is good on paper, that you have chemistry with, and he's boring? That is the trifecta of the perfect husband. Trust me when I tell you, I have seen enough to know for sure that it is the boring ones that make the best husband. Do you know what happens when you marry the exciting, fun, adventurous, enigmatic man? One day, he wakes up and looks at you, and you've had a couple of kids, and he thinks, how did my life become so boring? And think, how did I go from having so much fun to talking about sleep schedules and sugar content and the Steiner method? These are the men who grow to hate and resent their wives and their children, and then they have a midlife crisis, and they spend all your money on a fancy car, and they run off with a 21-year-old. They go on a boys' trip, and then they fall out of a second-story balcony, and then they end up hooked on painkillers. It's so fun and exciting, right? The boring guy, on the other hand, when he says he wants a boring life, he means he wants a quiet, comfortable, happy life with no drama. It means that he enjoys the idea of being with the same person every day, going to sleep with them, waking up next to them, going to work, coming home at the same time, in time for dinner, maybe watching a TV show after dinner together, and then cuddling, and then spending the weekends making a meal plan and going to the farmer's market and mowing the lawn. He is the one who subscribes to the idea of happy wife, happy life. He is a yes dear man who wants something. His answer is always yes, dear. As long as you are home when he gets home and you're making him his favorite meal and then giving him a nightcap, he is happy. He is not out there chasing women half his age, okay? He is not the guy who will gamble away your life savings. He's not buying a motorcycle and then trying to ride the motorcycle and then crashing the motorcycle. Here's another little...
You know what? This is like a rant, obviously, and she's being playful. I'm pretty sure. When she said a minute ago, give him a nightcap, that's what's kind of running around my brain, thinking, what does she mean by a nightcap? What is this? If she means the naughty, then she's on game. She's on point. If she means anything else, completely lost. When she said something about who's boring, I think what she means is somebody with similar interests, but spending the time at the beginning before you commit to somebody to find similar interests in the core areas, other than just being exciting. You can be exciting and have similar interests. Um, yeah, and reliable. One of those kind of core values that you're kind of trying to assess in your brain. I think that's it in summary. Anyway, let's go.
Tidbit of information that you need to understand. As a woman, if you have a man in your life, you inevitably will suffer the consequences from every stupid, bad decision this man will make. Were we not paying attention to Orange is the New Black? That was the message. Go back and watch it if you missed it. But almost all of those women were there because they attached themselves to an idiot man who made stupid, bad decisions. But I'm sure that was all so fun and exciting at the beginning. Now again, maybe marriage and settling down and having a nice, quiet, stable life is not for everybody, and that's okay. In that case, my advice is to stay single. But if you want to get married, ladies, if you want to have a happy marriage and a nice, comfortable life, marry the boring guy. You can always be exciting enough for the both of you.
Some women really don't know how to appreciate what they have.
Listen, before we go into it, I think, yeah, again, I think what she's saying is be accountable, ladies. Be accountable for your choices. If you go for that random, unstable, or unreliable guy, not unstable, if you go for that unreliable guy, expect unreliable outcomes. If you're not focused on the core things like I mentioned before, the things is, yeah, is he reliable? Is he going to be there tomorrow? Is he going to, what's his perspective? What's his long-term vision? What's his perspective on that whole kind of vision for your family kind of thing? You know what I mean? And it's obviously the same for men. You know what I mean? If you go off with a stripper, you get what you deserve. You get what you chose. You know what I mean? If you're just going off with somebody because she's young and pretty, say, you know what I mean? It turns out she's just kind of not wifey material because that's the only thing that you've assessed. And you know what I mean? You've got to own what you've chosen, especially if that's kind of going to be your lifelong partner. Don't do it. Think ahead, ladies and men. Anyway, let's go.
They'll be in a stable relationship with a good man, someone who's there for them, supportive and loyal. But instead of valuing that, they start to complain. Why? Because they've confused stability and peace with being boring. It's crazy how often you hear it. She calls the relationship dull or says, he's just not exciting anymore. But let's be honest, some women need to redefine what boring and fun really are. For a lot of them, fun means chaos. It means drama, excitement, and often toxic behavior. They're drawn to the roller coaster, thinking that's what keeps things interesting. Meanwhile, the good guy who's consistent, reliable, and has his life together gets sidelined because he's not bringing enough adventure into her life. And what happens next? She goes for the fun guy, the one who doesn't respect her, doesn't show up when it counts, and leaves her confused and hurt. The cycle repeats. But then, after the chaos has worn her out, she looks back and realizes that the stable man, the so-called boring one, was exactly what she needed all along. But by that time, he's probably moved on. Men get tired of being undervalued and taken for granted. And when they do, they won't stick around to be someone's backup plan. The truth is, real love and stability aren't boring. They're the foundation of a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Some women are caught up in chasing temporary thrills, and they don't realize that what they truly need is someone who brings peace, not drama, into their life. The issue is that by the time they learn this lesson, they often find themselves looking back and regretting how they let a good man go. Complaining about a stable relationship is a quick way to lose it. If fun means toxicity, it's time to redefine what happiness in a relationship really looks like. True joy is found in calm, consistent love, not in chaos.
So, this is where we're at.
Yeah, I don't think that they get kind of bored of being with the was it the Chads, the unreliable guys. I don't know what Chad's done, but anyway, I don't think they get bored of being. I just think they age out of it. You know what I mean? Where Chad will no longer look at them. You know what I mean? It's like what Chris Rock used to say: "A man is as faithful as his options." Like he almost kind of ages out of things in a way, even though the body clock for men is completely different. But anyway, as soon as your options are limited, it's like yeah, maybe I do need a long term kind of. And it's the same for the ladies, as I say. You go for your years when you can't get enough attention. You got 1,000 likes on Tinder, all of these things. Men can't help but to chat you up and buy you drinks, and then it's well, why aren't I getting any drinks anymore? Oh yeah, maybe I'm not into those guys. That kind of thing, and then they kind of think about the what used to be thought of as boring guys, which is basically the only ones that they can get necessarily. Maybe it's a little bit. I'm not talking about everybody. We're just kind of food for thought. Let's go.
Wish I could say I was surprised, but I'm not. I don't have anything left in me anymore. I don't know how to describe how I feel other than just numb. I'm just so convinced at this point that it's just never gonna work out for me. I'm so tired of ending up with the same person just in a different body. I am so tired of putting all of my trust in someone and giving someone the benefit of the doubt only for them to completely not be able to fulfill any promises that they say they're gonna keep. I don't have another talking stage in me. I literally refuse to get on a dating app. I just literally don't know what to do anymore. I just genuinely don't understand why every single time that I step outside of my comfort zone, I think I'm doing something big by taking a risk and being brave and doing something I wouldn't have done in the past. It still ends the same way. And now I'm just like, is anything worth it anymore if I'm still gonna get hurt even if I do things differently? And that's the most frustrating part is people are like, oh, you're the common denominator, you have to do something different. I do something different and I'm still getting the same result. I'm so tired.
Second, what are you doing differently? Sorry, this is why I did a channel, because I wanted to get some kind of substance to things. And it's impossible when they don't give any detail. You're doing things differently. Well, what did you think you were doing wrong? No, what did you think you're doing right? I mean, for example, are you just choosing bad guys? Are you going to the same bars? Or are you just kind of circulating spinning the block with your exes? Or going, what is it? We know it's empty. Anyway, let's go forward.
I want to do is rot all the time. I just don't understand what it is about me that makes people think that they can treat me the way that they do, and I'm nothing but kind to them. I'm nothing but honest and loyal, and I give people space to share things with me, so why can't anyone do that for me? And moving forward is just how am I ever supposed to feel confident about anything? Because it's it literally always just slaps me in the face. I genuinely can't.
Listen, I do empathise with the girl, but listen, this could be a guy, and I'd give you the exact kind of advice that you need to hear. Maybe you're just really bad at assessing future partners. Maybe you're just really bad, and if it was a guy, I'd say the same. Because if it keeps on happening again and again, you get to the point where it starts off unlucky, and then it gets to the point where, well, actually, it's not unlucky at all. There's some flaw in the choosing mechanism. But you're choosing the same thing again and again, expecting a different result. It doesn't work that way. So it's either in them. So basically, to give you the benefit of the doubt, it's either them that you keep on choosing the wrong guys, or there is something about yourself. And I always think to self first. You know what I mean? I just do. Oh, my battery's going. I always think about how did I handle things. Maybe I was a little bit too trusting. Maybe I was. I don't know. Was I annoying? What did I say? How did I handle things? Was I a bit too demanding? All that kind of thing. And I think all these things, just what did they say to you? What did the last person say to you? And just kind of think about whether there's anything to learn from that with honest eyes. Anyway, let's go forwards. Up.
And not get excited anymore about anything because it's like everything just lasts for such a short period of time. It's like the second I start getting excited or happy about something, God or the universe or whoever is controlling my life is like, I love watching you suffer, so I'm just gonna like sprinkle this thing into your life and just make you miserable. And I'm so tired. Like, I just do not know. I don't know how I can move forward from this.
This woman right here is on the internet, pouring out her tears and wondering why she keeps getting the same outcome from different relationships. She's out here dating the same type of man in a different body and somehow finds herself shocked when the results don't change. It's like she's expecting a different result, but keeps choosing the same type of guy. Asterisk Chad's asterisk, and acting surprised when the ending is always the same. She thought she had finally gotten herself a real man this time, but guess what? It's just another Chad with the same patterns. The same lack of commitment, the same games, the same disregard for her feelings. It's a vicious cycle that she can't seem to break, and the worst part is, she's blind to the fact that she's the common denominator in all these situations. Here's the thing. You can't expect a different outcome if you keep choosing the same kind of man. She's out here going for the excitement, the flash, the bad boy vibe, thinking it's going to be different this time around. But deep down, it's the same energy in a different body. And until she learns to break the cycle, she's going to keep getting burned. The truth is, a real man doesn't look like the image she's chasing. He's not the guy with all the swag, the smooth lines, or the toxic traits disguised as confidence. A real man is someone who brings stability, respect, and care into her life. But that's not who she's choosing. Instead, she's caught up in the same attraction to the wrong type, thinking somehow this time will be different. She's stuck in a loop, and it's painful to watch because she's so focused on what she thinks a real man should be that she keeps missing out on what she actually needs. Until she changes her approach, she's going to keep dating the same guy over and over, just in a different body, and getting the same disappointing result. At some point, you've got to ask, when does the blame shift? When do you start taking accountability for the patterns you keep repeating? Because if you're only attracted to Chads, you're going to keep getting Chad results.
If there's one thing that's become painfully obvious.
There's a second, I promise you. First viewing, me and this guy on the same wavelength, but we both can't be wrong because we're both geniuses. Both geniuses, yeah. So, yeah, everything I said, he echoed. Everything he said, I echoed. So 100% on that. Anyway, probably. We don't have all the information for the things that I said. She didn't go into enough detail, but based on what we know, that's what we think. Let's go.
As I'm recording this in 2024, it's that the dating scene has changed. The entire dynamic of what used to be is now gone. And if we're being fair, we have to give credit where credit's due and say that it's women who have largely changed the dating scene, who have made it what it is today. The problem, however, is the women who get that credit, and deservedly so, didn't change it in the way they thought they were changing it. To borrow a phrase, what they thought was going to be a blessing is turning out to be a curse, which is why they're making videos like this one.
A coffee date is low effort.
Ah, yes, the infamous coffee date, the thing men are now offering to women as first dates. The thing that most of today's modern women are absolutely appalled that men have turned to, because as she said, they view it as low effort. You see, they're still stuck in the 1950s and 60s, or perhaps to put it better, what they thought happened in the 1950s and 60s, when men, at least in their minds, took women out on expensive first dates, laid it all out there, did everything they could to impress them. The reality, however, was anything but. Back in my day, when I first started dating, the traditional first date was you would go to the mall, maybe get something at the food cart, and then go see a movie. That was pretty much it, and it probably cost him anywhere from $10 to $15, which I think all of us can agree is a pretty far cry from the hundreds, if not thousands, that today's modern women expect men to spend on them. But see, that doesn't make modern women feel good, and as we all know, it's all about the feels for them, which is why they then go on to say things like this.
It means that the guy likes you enough to buy you a cup of coffee, but he doesn't like you like that. He doesn't like you enough to plan a proper date.
Oh my, this is just another example of how women try and educate other women on what men think and feel, what men's actual intentions are. And as is the case 999,999 times out of 1 million, she gets it dead wrong. Now, to be fair, she is correct on one point. He does like her enough to buy her a cup of coffee. He does like her enough, and this is the key point, ladies, to do a risk assessment, to see if the risk of pursuing a relationship with her is worth the reward. And the reality is, ladies, and this one's really going to set you off, most of you aren't worth the risk. And that's why men are only offering coffee dates now. Because you see, ladies, while you're all about the feels, men are about the logic. And that first date for them is a risk assessment, not a romance novel. He is interested in trying to find out more about her and see if there's a connection. And a cup of coffee does all of that. In fact, more, because it tells him right off the bat if she's a high maintenance woman or one worth pursuing. Notice I didn't say high value. I said high maintenance, because if she's expecting expensive dates and him to go all out to impress her on the first one, she's making it very clear right up front, it's all about the Benjamins, baby. She couldn't care less about him. It's what she can extract from him, which is further proven by when they say things like this.
To try to impress you, to try to wow you.
Oh, sorry, honey, but there's no need for us to try and impress you, let alone wow you. Because contrary to what you've all convinced each other of, men don't need you. We may want you, but we don't need you. Contrary to what you're all running around trying to convince each other of, because, women know better than men how men think and feel. Men can do just fine without women in their lives. In fact, they do, day after day, by the millions. We can feed ourselves, we can do our own laundry, we can earn our own money, we can do all the things that most of you think we are completely and utterly incapable of doing. And not only can we do it, more often than not, we can do it better than you. And men know that, which has created a seismic shift in the dating scene, one that women still aren't ready to accept. And what is that shift? That the shoe is now on the other foot. It's on you to wow us. It's on you to impress us. It's on you to prove yourselves worthy of our interest. Hence, that first coffee date. There's your opportunity to do so. An opportunity most women fail because, well, in their minds, it's not good enough, which is a signal to men that she's not good enough.
So when you go on a coffee date, you need to be aware that the man is not sure about.
Very interesting, very interesting. I did a video quite recently predicting the future. I'm not sure where he's going with it, because as I said in other videos, listen, if you chat somebody up and you invite them out, then you've got to make some effort as a man, right? You've got to make some effort as a man, or else you're just not going to get anywhere. But at the same time, yeah, it is a two-way thing. So you are kind of trying to work out whether you got any kind of compatibility with this person. So in that way, then there's obviously got to be some back, and she's got to make an effort in terms of her appearance and just be kind of good company, you know what I mean? And just have to express and demure, feminine, beautiful, good values in terms of, you don't know where the conversation is going to go. You may not get too serious, but whatever it is, just be kind of fun, positive, you know what I mean? So that's it. Not really that complicated. But what I predicted for the future was, mindful of the body clock, I think the future will be where women are taking men out, because they can either have the choice of, because men have got forever, but the women either have a choice of, they make the most of their time, in which case they've got to be more proactive to instigate, to make things happen, or they miss their body clock, and then it's going to be much harder for their lives. And I don't know what goals they've got, but if one of their goals is having a family of their own, then they need to be more proactive just to beat that body clock. So that's what they're working for. They're going to college to earn enough money, similar to men. That's what I predict how it's going to be. Go to college, earn enough money to sustain enough income to take somebody out and entice them into, a future relationship. That's the way I think it's going to go in this world of equality. We'll see. Anyway, let's go.
Yep.
He's going to be evaluating to see if you're worth him spending more on you.
You're close, but no cigar. He's not assessing to see if you're worth spending more money on. He's assessing you to see if you're worthy of pursuing a relationship with. Two entirely different things to men. Though, let's be honest, for women, as I said earlier, it's all about the money. It's strictly a business transaction, which is why she's thinking this way. It's why
I really don't want to miss that. I'm going to go back, because he's absolutely right. And our ladies get this completely wrong. Men are not ever really, in my point of view, assessing. Have I gone way that back? I think I've gone way too far. Men are not really assessing whether they're going to spend money on you, whether you're money worthy. It's just about relationship potential. You know what I mean? And they don't want to date a gold digger. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, let's go.
So when you go on a coffee date, you need to be aware that the man is not sure about you.
Yep.
He's going to be evaluating to see if you're worth him spending more on you.
You're close, but no cigar. He's not assessing to see if you're worth spending more money on. He's assessing you to see if you're worthy of pursuing a relationship with. Two entirely different things to men. Though, let's be honest, for women, as I said earlier, it's all about the money. It's strictly a business transaction, which is why she's thinking this way. It's why she has the mindset that it's all about how much money he's going to spend on her.
He's not that worried about impressing you either.
Again, you get it completely wrong. You're showing once again you have no idea how men think, because he is worried about impressing you if, and this is the key thing, if he thinks you're worthy of him putting in the effort to impress you, which again doesn't require a planned out expensive date. Coffee date more than suffices to determine that.
So make your choice. You decide if you want to go there and prove to this guy that you are worthy of a better date, or if you're okay with him buying you a cup of coffee so he can decide how he feels about you.
I actually agree with her. It is on the woman to make that decision, but I put it a little differently, because the choice comes down to one of two things. Are you so self-absorbed, so narcissistic, so entitled that you think a man needs to go all out and spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on you to woo you on the first date before either one of you is determined if you're compatible, or you can step back, realize that all you need to do is get together for an hour over a cup of coffee to make that same determination, because that's what it comes down to. Sadly, most of today's modern women are making the former choice, which is why men are walking away and done with them. Why they're not asking you out, and certainly why they're not taking you out on expensive first dates. Because any woman that has that expectation is showing she's high maintenance and low value. She's never going to be in it for anything more than the money. And if men are going to spend that kind of money, trust me, ladies, there's other ways they can spend it that'll make them a lot happier, a lot healthier, and not have to put up with all the drama. That's the reality, ladies, and it's why dating has changed. Which means you can either double down like you all are doing, or go about making some changes. Taking some ownership, some accountability, and responsibility, and accepting that men are worthy, that they aren't something for you to pillage for your amusement, that you need to bring something to the table just as much as they do. Because contrary to what you believe, this ain't all that.
For decades, Western women have been financially exploiting men, turning relationships into transactions. The first date? Oh, that's just to see if we're tolerable. Not to get to know us as individuals, not to see if there's chemistry, just to figure out if they can put up with us long enough to cash in on what we can offer. And the moment a man flips the script and asks, "What do you bring to the table?" It's chaos. Suddenly, they don't want to talk about it. Women hate being asked that because it puts the spotlight on them, and they've been skating by without having to prove their worth for so long. Let's talk about the infamous coffee date. It's the perfect setup for men. It's not about impressing her with a fancy meal or expensive drinks. It's about having an actual conversation, seeing if she's worth your time. But for some reason, women are offended by it. Why? Because they're used to men going all out, rolling out the red carpet just to get a chance. They see a coffee date as a downgrade, not realizing it's the best way to actually connect. The truth is, many women have this entitlement mentality. They think they automatically deserve to win at everything without putting in any effort. To them, men are nothing more than ATM machines, useful for getting what they want without ever asking what we want. And don't even get started on how women demand all these things from men, blocking themselves from what they truly want. It's like they're making a checklist for the perfect guy, but can't even check off the basics on their own. And the advice they get? It's a joke. Women listen to other women, who are just as lost and delusional, instead of actually talking to men to understand what we think, what we want. It's like they're in this echo chamber, flexing to each other, competing in a game that no one's winning. They don't want to hear what men really value, because it doesn't fit their narrative. At the end of the day, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze anymore. For many men, the risk, the games, and the exploitation have become too much. We're tired of being seen as nothing more than providers or a stepping stone to their fantasy lifestyle. If they don't want to ask us what we think or what we value, they're going to keep playing a losing game, and we're done playing along.
My favorite incel weirdo comment is,
Yeah, I'm tired of that provider comment. It's like a catch-all, isn't it? Really, it's not about provider. Men provide for their families, not for a stranger, not for a damn stranger, for goodness sake. But at the same time, I say, if you're inviting somebody out and you're trying to attract them, if they were doing the same for us, you know what I mean? They would be more have to do something similar. But the fact is, historically and societally, in the West, that men chat up the ladies. And if you're going to chat her up, when you're getting to know her, for her to get to know you, you've got to put some effort in. And that might mean a date. It's just about whether that date is unreasonable. But anyway, going back to that previous speaker, the lady, yeah, she got it completely. I've already said it, just very quickly. She got it completely wrong. He's not assessing whether he should spend more money on you in terms of his value or your value to him. He's just assessing whether you are relationship material. That is it. It doesn't matter if he takes you somewhere expensive. It does just mean he's got more money to spend. If he takes you somewhere just kind of middle of the road or somewhere just which is sufficient, same thing. The same thing in his eyes, and you just have to put the best foot forwards. That's what I think. Anyway, let's go.
women only date for free food. It makes me laugh because I'm like, okay, let's say I go on one date a week and I go to dinner, which by the way, not every date I go on is a dinner date, but for the sake of argument, let's say I'm going on one dinner date a week. How am I feeding myself dinner the other 6 nights a week? Am I just not eating dinner until a man takes me out to eat? And I just always laugh at the fact that they're like, you just want free dinner. Like, do you know how much time and energy and money I have to spend on hair and makeup and an outfit for a date? I am actively losing money by going to dinner with you, but I'm still going because I'm dating you to see if I'm interested. Not to mention, we're also putting our lives at risk because you don't know if that guy from Hinge is actually gonna kill you. So no, we don't date for the free food. I can take myself to dinner, and I do feed myself every single day. It's amazing. It's like a miracle.
It's unfortunate, but in today's world, a lot of men are realizing that some women aren't looking for genuine connections anymore. Instead, they're searching for sponsors, men who can fund their lifestyle or at least provide a free meal without any real interest in building a meaningful relationship. It's a tough reality, but one that many men are waking up to. You hear the stories everywhere. A woman goes out with a guy she has zero intention of dating, but because he's offering dinner at a nice place, she's in. She's just there for the experience. And when the check comes, she expects him to pay. There's no emotional investment on her end, no intention of getting to know the guy, just a free night out. The problem with this? It breeds distrust. Men start to wonder if women are genuinely interested in them, or just in what they can provide. It becomes less about building a real connection and more about seeing who can offer the most perks. But here's the thing. Men are catching on. They're becoming more selective about who they give their time and resources to. No one wants to feel used or like they're just a walking ATM. The days of blindly playing into the free meal game are fading. Men are starting to prioritize women who genuinely want to get to know them and aren't just looking for a handout or a good time. At the end of the day, real relationships aren't built on transactions. They're built on mutual respect, shared values, and authentic interest. And while some women may still play the game of looking for sponsors, men who value themselves aren't falling for it anymore. They're looking for real, not someone who's only there for the free meal.
I just want to know, where are all
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I just going back to what she said though. I'm just going back to what she said. She said something about yeah, the hair's not cheap, and she's only doing it for the person that she's dating. So I think from logic, then the moment that she met this guy, she thought, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna buy that dress for him. I'm gonna buy that shoes for him. I'm gonna get my hair done for him. I'm gonna get my makeup done for him. Or is that she had that shit already, and she didn't know she was gonna meet that guy, and she was doing it for herself. Same way when you just going about your daily business, you're just doing it for yourself. You know what I mean? You may well go out one time. You may well need some makeup, I guess, get your hair done, maybe because you may well want to go out. You might well meet somebody. You know, but you're doing it for self-esteem reasons. Let's not pretend. Let's not bullshit. That's like him saying, yeah, well, actually, yeah, the only reason I bought this car was just on the off chance that, I might need to drop you home. So therefore, if you can just invoice me, the cost of my, come on, the cost of my insurance or my petrol. Yeah, when these shoes ain't cheap either. I was doing it. It's just, come on now. Let's cut see, the more we get into these bullshit, made up nonsense, just left turn kind of conversation. So the frontward path is the common sense, and then somebody's just trying to take you left with bullshit. It just doesn't serve anybody. That's what I get on my nerves. We're just wasting time, and I say all these bullshit conversations. I say with no merit. Anyway, let's go.
Nice, normal people who don't lie, don't cheat, whom you can trust. There's so many mean creeps out there.
Let's face it, a lot of us have been there. We've put in the time, the energy, and the effort, only to be let down by women who didn't value what we brought to the table. Most of us have given up, and honestly, we're perfectly fine with it. At one point, we were hopeful. We thought if we just worked hard enough, loved deeply enough, and stayed loyal, we'd get that same energy in return. But over time, reality hit hard. Time and time again, we were broken. By women who didn't appreciate us, by games, by unrealistic expectations, and by a society that tells men they have to keep chasing even when they're tired. So now, many of us have stepped back. We're choosing peace over drama. We're realizing that being single isn't a curse, it's a relief. No more chasing after women who have a laundry list of expectations, but bring nothing to the table themselves. No more walking on eggshells trying to live up to some unattainable ideal. We're focusing on ourselves, on our peace, on our goals. And guess what? It's liberating. No more emotional roller coasters. No more feeling like you're never enough. No more getting strung along. We've learned that being single doesn't mean being lonely. It means being free to live life on our terms without the constant pressure to conform to someone else's idea of what a man should be. We're done with the games, and honestly, the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore. If it means we get to avoid the drama, the heartbreak, and the nonsense, then we're fine being single. We've learned our lessons. Women can keep playing games, raising their standards higher and higher while offering less and less. But us, we're good. We're not broken anymore. We're just not playing the same game. And for that, we're better off.
Definitely men are the prize. Like if we really be
I just want to just reiterate what he said. Yeah, just don't put yourself on the roller coaster. Don't aim for the unattainable. You know what I mean? Don't get drawn into this bullshit narrative. You're trying to prove yourself to somebody you don't even know. You know what I mean? When you're trying to look for these fundamentals, and hopefully you are, not just the pretty kind of shiny thing, not the pretty person. You want that, but a little bit more to it, obviously, right? So you're looking for the fundamentals. You want somebody who's also looking for similar fundamentals, because if she isn't, then she's looking for the bullshit things. So it's not going to lead to anything anyway. It's a zero-sum game. You're not going to lose anything. You know what I mean? So anyway, just stay true to the objective logic. And if somebody there ain't on the same path as you, just you got to let it go. And whether you do that sooner or later, that's the way it is. Again, that's not me saying that you don't have to accept your role in society as a man, that you've been chatting somebody up, you've got to put some effort in, you are going to have to invest something, you're going to have to be on the top of your game. I'm not saying you can just get by being a piece of shit or just slacking. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you got to be on the tippity top. I'm saying you got to invest in your early years, in your 20s maybe, until you get to the stage where you are financially viable, stable. You know what I mean? You got those fundamentals in place, and you need to be an ambitious high achiever to some extent, and then start dating. All those things, all at the right time, but definitely never beyond your means. Let's go.
honest, men really are the prize. Like every woman wants to have a great man, but not every great man wants to have a great woman. A man wants to have a functioning woman, a woman that's able to complement his lifestyle. They actually have bare minimum in terms of what they really want from women. But us, on the other hand, we have these high expectations of men. Why? Because men are the prize. Besides the fact that men are the ones that actually choose to marry, and they're the ones that, are people that create the solid foundation for relationships. Like, men are the prize. We do everything for men. We do everything to impress men. But we're so ignorant about it, and see, as Kata acting as though we are the prize. But men are the prize. Men are definitely the people that they think they are. That's on condition that a man thinks he is who he is. Yeah, well, because we've gone above and beyond just to impress them. And guess what? The crazy thing is, they're not easily impressed. Not that they're not easily impressed. They just don't care about all the things that we want to impress them with. So yeah, men are the prize. And what's crazy is if you'd actually go into a man's phone, a man who's in a relationship, a solid, healthy relationship, and loves his woman, you'll find that majority of women actually want.
Oh no, just before we go on, it's not that all men are the prize. It's not that all men, but the ones that say who've got their shit together, like I just explained a moment ago, they've got that long-term vision, they're stable, they're good company, they're looking after their appearance, you know what I mean? They're going to be all these things, all the fundamentals are in place. Yeah, of course they are. And similarly, women are too. But as I say, men aren't up against that body clock. So women just need to be more focused, highly focused, highly focused. Every single year that ticks by, sexual marketplace value goes down. Facts. And for the men, probably goes up or is more or less the same. It's just facts. So you got to just acknowledge the reality. Anyway, let's go.
And what's crazy is if you'd actually go into a man's phone, a man who's in a relationship, a solid, healthy relationship, and loves his woman, you'll find that majority of women actually want to fuck him. Majority of women actually want what that woman is having. Why? Because they're the prize. And everyone wants the prize. Everyone wants to win. But not all of us can win. That's the tricky part. So yeah, men definitely the prize. Up.
Absolutely. Men will go above and beyond for a woman who truly values and appreciates them. When a man feels respected, seen, and cherished, there's no limit to what he'll do to make her happy and secure. But here's the thing. He's not going to settle for someone who doesn't give him that in return. He knows his worth. And until he finds the woman who sees him as the prize he is, he's going to keep exploring his options. It's a shift in mindset. Men aren't desperate anymore, chasing validation or trying to prove themselves to someone who doesn't appreciate their efforts. They've come to realize they are the prize. They bring value to the table, stability, loyalty, ambition, protection. And they deserve someone who sees that, someone who adds to their life instead of draining it. And let's be clear, men aren't asking for the impossible. They want respect, appreciation, and partnership. They don't want to be taken for granted, manipulated, or treated as disposable. When they find a woman who brings that real, genuine love to the table, they'll stop exploring their options. But until then, they'll keep their standards high because they know they deserve someone who sees their true worth. Men have options too, and they're done settling for less. They're waiting for the one who values them just as much as they value her. And when that happens, that's when he'll give her the world. Because men are the prize, and they deserve to be treated like it.
Some of y'all might think I'm really petty, that I'm about to end things with a man that I've been dating for 3 months because of what happened the other night. Y'all can come for me, whatever, but I really, really think this is a valid reason to end things with someone. So let me tell y'all what happened, okay? Listen to this. So Thursday night, I was not feeling my best. Actually, I was sick all day. I had a really bad sore throat, and I was just extremely tired. And he was checking in on me. The guy I've been dating for 3 months was checking in on me Thursday. I think it was like 9 o'clock. He was like, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And I told him, like, I'm still really tired. I'm not really feeling my best. And he was like, okay, do you need anything? And I was like, well, like, it would be nice. I really didn't eat anything. Maybe like some soup. He was like, okay, I'll bring you some soup and maybe some NyQuil to help you go to sleep. And I was like, wow, really thoughtful of you. Yeah, you can swing by. So he does that. He comes by and brings me some NyQuil, brings me some soup and some popsicles to soothe my throat. And I was like, wow, that's really sweet. But then listen to this. So he decides to stay the night, and we're up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just having pillow talk, chit-chatting. Next thing you know, we hear a beep, like a loud beep downstairs and a bang. And I'm like, what in the world is that? My ring alarms didn't go off from the front and the backyard. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what could be going on. Sometimes ring misses motion. So I'm like, okay, we don't know what's going on. Y'all want to know what this man said? This man said, do you want to go check out the noise downstairs? You want to go see what that noise is? Me, the woman, me, go downstairs and check what the noise is. I thought you were supposed to protect me. I'm looking for a protector, okay? Not a man that's going to send me downstairs to potentially, I don't know what's happening downstairs. And even if it turned out that it was just my refrigerator that was making the noise, the fact that this man told me to go downstairs and check on the noise gave me the biggest ick I've ever experienced from a man. And I just can no longer get past that because how you can't protect me, apparently. I got to protect the home. Absolutely not.
Let's get something straight. He's the prize, and it's your job to protect him. You don't always need a reason to break up with someone, and if you want out, fine, do your thing. But let's talk about something serious here. What if he wasn't at your place, and you heard a noise? What's the first thing you'd do? Maybe check it out, maybe call someone. But the reality is, it could be another man you're dating that he knows nothing about. Think about it. In that moment, he's putting himself in danger for you, without even knowing the full story. What if the noise is another guy who you've been keeping on the side? This happens more often than we like to admit, and a lot of times it doesn't end well for the visiting man. There are plenty of stories out there where men walk into situations like this, and it turns ugly, fast. And guess who gets hurt in the process? The man who trusted you. See, he figures maybe you wanted to check out the noise, or worse, he's the one walking into a trap. He's thinking he's protecting you, but is anyone really looking out for him? The point is, if you're going to play these games, you're not just putting yourself at risk, you're putting him at risk too. That's why he's the prize, and if you care about him, you've got to protect him from these kinds of situations. Here's the deal. A lot of women don't realize that men have limits too. They're not just there to serve and protect you while you're off doing whatever you want. If he's good to you, you've got to be good to him. It's that simple. And part of that is not dragging him into dangerous situations, knowingly or unknowingly.
Very interesting, kind of. I don't know about NSA. I don't know about any one side being the prize. There are men prizes and there are female prizes. I'm not just being PC, as I've already explained it a little bit earlier. Okay, the based on the known information, what was said, there's something about a fridge. Maybe it's the fridge. Now, say if you're half asleep and somebody says, "Oh, why don't you just go downstairs?" and you think it's the fridge, right? You're a man, right? As the man, genuinely, you think it's the fridge. Do you just go downstairs anyway? Checking it out, knowing it's the fridge. You just said, no, 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 it's the fridge. It's the fridge, right? That's all it is. Would you go down anyway? Or would you say, listen, I'm going back to sleep. If you want to go down, go down. There you go. But if genuinely you think it is an intruder, what do? You call 911, right? Or 999 if you're in the UK. Well, it's not it's not every situation where you've got to fight it out with an intruder. You know what I'm saying? But if they're outside your door, you know what I mean? There's you got to assess this thing. If they're right outside your door, yeah, you got to get ready. You know what I'm saying? But there's levels to this thing. And again, if you think it's the fridge, I'm not necessarily going downstairs if I think it's a fridge and I'm convinced it's the fridge. I'm going back to sleep. You know what I mean? And she can do whatever the hell she wants to do, including totter around. There you go. I'm a gentleman. There you go, Bowing. That's me. Anyway, so please like, subscribe. That is Stephen. I am out.